What's going on, everybody? Hey, this is part two. This is part two of McRae Live that I was doing today. YouTube did what YouTube does and has been doing the last couple of days. And my apologies for that. If you were watching McRae Live today, of course, it got to a certain point and YouTube conked out. And this is the kind of shit that YouTube, I feel like being like, come on, like what's going on here? So my apologies. Like I said, the last time this happened, the only solace I take really in this happening is that I'm not the only one it's happening to. And there was a couple of streams that I've watched recently where it's happened. Not the exact same thing, but something similar will happen. Well, all of a sudden there'll be a jump and you'll see them kind of going, oh, are we on still? Are we on? Shit like that. It's so frustrating. So my apologies, but I wanted to jump on and do the last, 25 minutes or so of the Q&A because I think that's important. So if you are, I will make a pin post on this video. This is sort of McRae Live episode 52B, part B, so go watch. Now, the first part of the show, of course, is probably still processing, so it's probably not up ready to view yet, but it will be. So let's continue on our Q&A here, talking about Scream and whatever you guys want to talk about. So yeah, it's just really frustrating. Marco Strano says, sorry this keeps happening. Yeah, I'm so sorry too, guys. My apologies. I mean, I wish there was something I could do, but it's, it would be easier if I was like, well, you know what? It's my computer. I got to get a new computer. It's not my computer. I got a very powerful machine. I'm like, it's my internet. I got to get new internet. It's not the internet. I got the fastest upload and download speed. And I did that on purpose when I knew that I was going to be doing these shows on more of a regular basis. I was like, well, I want to get the fastest internet. I want to get a top computer. I want to get the best program. But for whatever reason, YouTube for a bit there, I would have been back earlier. It didn't take me that long, but I would have been back sooner. But I was trying to set up the live feed to do it, and it kept saying error message, error message. And I'm like, what are you doing, YouTube? What do you mean there's an error message? I'm just setting it. Just work. Just do it. Just go. And then finally, after a couple of refreshes, it was like, okay, we'll let you do that now. And I'm like, what the fuck, YouTube? Anyway, again, my apologies for the glitch. I'm hoping that this doesn't become a regular thing. I'm hoping maybe when society turns back to normal, maybe there'll be, I don't know. I'm hoping things will sort itself out as we move along here. But hey, you know what? The good news is that I don't leave you guys high and dry for too long. You know what I mean? Maybe 5 minutes or so, but you always know I'm going to come back and make some sort of post or some sort of video. So that's the important thing here. But let's continue on here. I realize that I did lose a lot of the viewers, understandably so as well. But hopefully maybe they'll be able to catch this as we move along. So let's jump into it. Let me go back and see. I don't know if there were any super chats that I missed. I think there may have been. Oh, and there was also a super chat I was going to read. Jesus. You know what? I'm going to save that for tomorrow's show because he's probably not going to see that mixed in here. I do have the super chat that I was going to read from last Friday's show. I'm going to read it on tomorrow's show. It's going to be the first one I read. So I'm definitely going to do that. Let's see here. Let me move that out of the way. No, shut that down. Do this. And I thought, because sometimes what happens is there'll be a glitch and it looks like YouTube's going to knock me off and something's going to happen. And it doesn't. There's a bit of a hiccup, but I'm still going. And I thought that's what was going to happen here because it said I was still live. And I'm like, are we on? And you guys are like, no, Dave's gone. I'm like, fuck. Now I got to stop the stream. And I always hate having to do a B, like a B to the A, because it's it feels messy to me and I don't like it. I like having my shows in blocks. But anyway, what are you going to do? That's right. Tom Yergreen says part two. Yeah, this is part two. This won't be as long though. We'll go for another 25, 30 minutes or so just to finish off our Q&A portion of the show. So let me actually go. I figured out a way to the other day, I figured out a way to access those super chats. And I want, of course, now I want to make sure that I am doing it right. Of course, now I probably won't. I should have saved this as its own thing. Of course, you know, you're live and you're under pressure and you're trying to feel where it would go. Yeah, I'm not going to figure this out now. I did figure it out, and now I forget. Let's move on. And if you did send in a super chat to me, if you're watching and you sent in a super chat that did not get answered, at me right now. Of course, you know, be honest. I mean, you know, and I will answer it. You don't have to send in another one. Yeah, where is it's under videos? Oh, maybe it's monetization. No, wait, I think I got it here. Supers. Here we are. I got it. I found it. Luckily, there weren't two. Reese Wilson, Toronto Freddy says, I hope the video I sent you in. That was the last one. That's the last one that I see here. I hope. So I think I'm good. And Toronto, Freddy, Aaron, if you're watching, no, the Instagram video, I don't know what you're talking about. So I'll have to go back and have a look. Because there was nothing that upset me. So I will definitely take a look. Toronto Freddy says, the video is about your dad's funeral. Oh, about my dad's funeral. Oh, yeah. No. That wouldn't have upset me at all. I mean, I was there, you know what I mean? So it's on YouTube and I think it's great for everybody to kind of see. I think that's really cool. I'm glad about that. Gamer Luna 03 says, Dave, what are your thoughts on Freddys Dead? I'm curious because most people hate it and I feel like I'm the only one who doesn't. Well, you must not check in with me too often, Gamer. I think Freddys Dead is a gigantic pile of dog shit. I think it is a gigantic pile of dog shit. I do. And I watched it a couple of weeks ago, actually. If you go onto my channel and you scroll down my channel, I have a playlist called Saturday Movie Night. Now, Saturday Movie Night is for my level 3 patrons, my level 2 and 3 patrons. If you want to have an opportunity to vote on the movie that I watch, you have to be part of level number 3. But level number 2 can join into the live feed as well. And then it gets opened up to everybody on my channel. So if you're not part of my level 2 or 3 patron, you won't be able to join in on the live feed. But after the live feed is done, it's up on my channel for anybody to watch. So a couple of weeks ago, I think I did, or maybe a month or so ago, I did, no, it wouldn't have been a couple of weeks ago because I only do it once a month. A couple of months ago, I did Freddys Dead. And so if you want to know my thoughts, watch that. I watch it and do a live commentary on it, and you can... Dude, I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you find some sort of, enjoyment out of it. I think it is a gigantic turd, a gigantic pile of smelly springtime thawing dog shit. That's what I think of Freddys Dead. Hey, if you're just tuning in because you're like, oh, Dave's live again. Again, my apologies. YouTube knocked me off. Don't know what happened. So this is part 2 of our Q&A. My apologies for that. If you want to go back and watch the first part of the show, of course, it is there, or it will be there anyway for you to watch. And I hate that feeling messy like this. I just don't like it when this kind of shit happens. Radio AJ says, of they're going to make a reboot of Scream. If they're going to make a reboot of Scream, I think you meant make an actual reboot. If not, continue from the original, make it a real twist, and have Sydney and Stu be the killers. Dewey and Gail should die in the start. I disagree with that. I think that, and I disagree with it because it's unnecessary to do it. Like I was saying on the part A of this stream, if you will. I don't think there's a Scream movie that's catastrophically bad. I think Scream 3 is weaker than the other installments, but I don't think Scream has a Freddys Dead. I don't think Scream has a Halloween 5 or Resurrection. I don't think Scream has a, Friday the 13th, Jason Goes to Hell or Jason Takes Manhattan. I don't think there's that movie yet. That movie may be coming. So I think to do that would feel very not only unnecessary but insulting to the Scream fans. I'm not saying that that's what you're saying. I'm just saying I think in the big picture, if you were to do that, people would be like, "Why are you doing that?" It's unnecessary to do this because it's not like Scream 4 was ass, or Scream 3 was fucking dog shit. I guess I understand that's subjective, I guess, but I question people's tastes if they really compare Scream 3 to, Freddys Dead or Halloween 5 or something. I was like, really? Listen, I didn't like Scream 3 either, but I think that's a stretch to compare it to something like that. So I think it would be unnecessary. I think really, if you're going to reboot it, you reboot it. If you're going to make a sequel, you make a sequel to Scream 4. I don't think it's necessary to wipe out the entire series, but that's how I feel about it. 105 people watching. Thank you for joining me again, folks, for this this is part 2 of this Q&A. YouTube knocked me off, so that really is fucking annoying. I'm going to go back and make a thumbnail and say part A or part 1, part 2. It's so frustrating. Oliver Mercer says, with Scream 5, do you feel it's important to end the Scream franchise by killing Sydney's character at the end? I feel that it would bring a strong sense of a powerful meaning by doing that. This is how I feel about that kind of stuff. If you're going to kill somebody who is the yin to the yang, you know what I mean? If you're going to kill Laurie Strode, if you're going to kill Sidney Prescott, and not a fake kill, not a Marvel Cinematic Universe kill, I mean an actual kill, then you have to end the franchise as we know it. It doesn't mean you don't reboot it 5, 10, 6, 7, 8, whatever years later, and you start again with a new story, and it's a remake essentially, right? Okay, but you know, Sidney and Laurie Strode are so integral, and I know what you're going to say. Yeah, but it's not personal. Michael's not, like, why is he's not? You can have him go on and on and on. No, I get that. But again, he doesn't have to be going after Laurie specifically for it to be about Laurie and Michael. Do you know what I mean? Laurie doesn't have to be Michael's sister in order for it to be about Michael and Laurie. So I think if you're going to kill Laurie Strode, you end the whole thing. It's more symbolic that way. It's more meaningful that way. It ties things together from more of a symbolic point of view. Again, it's all in the execution. You can absolutely botch it, but I think that's important. I think Scream without Sidney is, what the fuck is that? You know, so I think if you're going to kill Sidney Prescott, you end the story for good. The problem, again, it's a pro as well, there's pros and cons to this, is that anybody can be Ghostface. So you kill this Ghostface, well, who's to say that there isn't another Ghostface doing something else, right? That's sort of the problem with that. When you get so emotionally attached to your heroine, your main protagonist, your final girl, Sidney Prescott, she arguably is part of the brand of the franchise. Like I said, as I was saying, so it's very difficult to kind of kill her and then move on as if, well, no, I think if you're going to kill Sidney, you end Scream as we know it. That's what I say anyway. That's what I say. Tabitha Short says, I'm starting to get worried about Frank. He's missed a few streams, Dave. Do you know anything we don't? No, I don't. I hope Frank is okay, but you're right. I haven't noticed Frank in here in a little bit now that you mention it. I hope he's okay. I haven't heard anything. I imagine if Frank was, he would reach out. But I will, if Frank is not on the stream tomorrow, I will reach out to Frank. When was the last time that Frank was in? I think he was there. Wasn't he there on Two Dudes and Some Bullshit on Wednesday? Wasn't he there last Wednesday? What is today? Today's Thursday, right? Monday. Was he not there on Two Dudes on Monday? I believe he was. Did he miss Tuesday's McRae Live? So that'd be Tuesday's McRae Live, wasn't part of the Patreon, and then today. So that might be 3. Yeah, I'll check in with him. You know, if he's not there on tomorrow's show, I'll check in just to see if he's all right. Jonathan Nichols says, would you agree that the writers of Scream 5 will be more important than the directors? Yes, I think, well, it's writing, it's a collaborative effort, right? Making movies is always a team effort. I think the directors are very important because there's a certain style that's there, but the writers in Scream are very important. Yeah. I mean, the writers in any movie are very important, but because I get what you're saying, because Scream has a very specific sort of, self-aware, it's got a very specific style. I do think it's important. Yes, the writers are very important. Whether Kevin Williamson comes back to actually right? I don't know. Who knows at the end of the day? But yes, definitely important. Definitely important. Okay, we'll go for another 15 minutes. That'll bring us right to 30 minutes here. And we went for about an hour and change on part A of the stream before we got knocked off. So we will definitely, that'll bring us to a nice sort of round number. We'll go for another 15 minutes or so because we've been going 15 minutes already. Let's see. Sober Dragon first says, I want Ghostface to be aggressive and slamming and throwing victims around like in Scream 2. Well, maybe you'll get it. Maybe you'll get it, my man. Maybe you'll get it. H.E. Pennypacker says, Sir Dave, do you think Scream 5 will bring back Randy by having Sydney become her character from The Craft and have her resurrect Randy using her nifty witchcraft skills? Maybe, but then now you know you've gone full spoof territory, folks. You've gone full spoof territory, but you never know. You never know. Darren Sand says Frank's having his ass with Jason Blum. Maybe that could be taken. Oh, shaving his ass. Excuse me. I was just going to say that could be taken to several different ways there. Frank's shaving his ass with Jason Blum. That might be happening. You know what? I could totally see that. You know, is it straight blade though? Or is it electric? You know, I don't know how we're, you know, is it with are they shaving each other's asses? Are they having their asses shaved by women? I mean, how's that going down, Darren? How's that going down? I have no idea. Lauren Downing says, hope Frank is okay. Let's all send out good vibes to him. What would Frank Super Chat look like for this topic? A Frank Super Chat would be, Dave was just talking to Jason Blum. He said to me that they are thinking about intervening and taking the Scream rights away from Spyglass and turning it into a spoof where Sidney Prescott becomes a man and Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode is it'd be something along those lines. And No. It would be Sidney Prescott, Laurie Strode, and Heather Langenkamp all team up together to fight Ghostface. And when they take off the mask, it is actually Mark Hamill from Star Wars. It's something like that. Frank would have some crazy, wild thing like that. Frank, we love Frank. And he is Shears, Dave. Shears, Darren Sand says. Shears. Amazing. Somebody's got to do that. Tab of the Short says, spot on, Dave. Good impression of Frank. It'd be something like that. What would a super chat be? What would a stream be without Frank's crazy super chats? I'm sure he's okay. He might just be busy. Maybe a busy week for him, right? Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. But if he's not on the show tomorrow, I will check in with him and just see how he's doing. Brandon Barry sends in a super chat and says, Dave, should Scream go Wes Craven New Nightmare route? I don't think so. Usually those types of things don't do well. New Nightmare is very meta and cerebral in its approach. It's a cult sort of. People have grown to appreciate the unorthodox style, but it wasn't a success at the box office. I mean, it wasn't this huge success. You know, whenever anybody does that kind of thing, it's an acquired taste because you're asking your audience to pretend those movies don't exist in a way, right? You're asking your audience to pretend this might make a good McRae Live on its own. You're asking your audience to pretend those movies don't exist, even though they do exist, but you're asking your audience, hey, they were just movies. These are just actors. And even though you know they're just movies in real life, when you're watching the movie, the narrative itself is telling you to imagine this is real, right? This is a story. This is actually happening. You're not thinking to yourself as you're watching the movie, these are just actors in a fictional world, right? You know that consciously, but you're not thinking that as you're watching the movie. It's as if it's really happening, right? So, you know, it's like what 90210 tried to do, right? They tried to come back, capitalize on the nostalgia, but it's fictional versions of themselves. Didn't do very well. Usually those things don't, because what 902 was asking was basically of their fans saying, hey, pretend all of that was fake. And, you know, and it's a very difficult thing to wrap your mind around. You know, it's avant-garde, it's, you know, cerebral and meta, and when done well, it can be pretty cool. But I don't know if there's ever been a time where that's been the right time. Do you know what I mean? It's never been a thing. It's never been a trend per se. That style has never been a trend. So, it's sort of there and people try it out and sometimes they're more successful than others, but it's never been like a real thing, So I don't think that would be the smart thing to do, because you are, again, you can paint it however you want to paint it. Oh, we're honoring Wes by doing it this way, and he would have loved to have done it this way. And he would have. Okay, sure, but you're asking your audience to now fall in love with fictional versions of these actors' lives, and it's like nobody wants that really at the end of the day. I mean, Wes Craven did it in 1994. He's very talented and he was able to add a spin to it that was pretty cool in its own right. But it was primarily because where do you go? We've exhausted Freddy Krueger. Oh, I have an idea. Let's do this. But it's not like it was, I just don't think it would be a smart move to do. I just don't think it'd be a smart move to do. Chastity Smith sends in a super chat. Thank you so much, Chastity. Really appreciate that. We'll go for another 10 minutes here on this little part 2, making up for the fucking YouTube. Hey, yeah, if you're just joining me after the fact, if you're joining me live right now, again, my apologies. This happened once before a couple of weeks ago. It happened again. YouTube has been giving a lot of creators issues with streams. So this is part 2 to my part 1 of McRae Live, episode 52. If you want to go watch that, which I hope you do, because we break down sort of the news of Neve Campbell potentially returning. So go watch that and then come back and watch the last 30 minutes of our Q&A. David Petway says, I believe Halloween, Psycho, and Scream are 3 of the most influential horror movies of all time. And those are my top 3. I think it's cool that they all share one common thing, the name Loomis. That's very true. That's a very good insight. There is no doubt that Halloween, Psycho, and Scream were very influential. I would say, though, I don't know if Scream was influential. I would say that Halloween and Psycho definitely, but it's not like Scream. I don't know if there was a trend of Scream knockoffs or tropes that were used in Scream that we started to see. It's influential in the sense that it rebirthed the horror slasher subgenre, and definitely it is responsible for that. Horror was dead. By 1988, horror was essentially dead. I mean, yes, you had Halloween 4 and 5 and 89, and there were, Candyman, but the golden age of slashers was really 78 to about 85. And once you start to get to 86, then that curve begins to kind of dip a bit. And then certainly once you're in 87, now we're heading downwards. By 1995 and 96, horror was dead. Slasher was dead. And Scream revitalized the slasher subgenre, I'll bet, briefly. I mean, it's not like it took off like a bat out of hell and we had this, decades of this glorious. No, it was fleeting, right? It was 96 to probably about 2001 or 2. Maybe, but actually, you know what? Probably close to about as many years as the golden age of slashers were, right? So 78 to about 85, 86 is about 8 years. 96 to, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2001 or 2, it's about 6 years or so. So not as fleeting as I thought. But certainly it is responsible for that. Influential on filmmakers, influential in the horror genre, influential on horror in the sense of the things that were used in the movie set the bar and now everybody's using those types of things. I don't know about that, but I would definitely say that it is a very important movie, very influential in the sense that it didn't let the subgenre of the slasher films die outright. But certainly I think the approach to horror, the things that you see in Psycho and the things that you see in Halloween are still used today in horror. And if it wasn't for Halloween and Psycho, you may never have gotten a Scream. If it wasn't for Scream, I still think you would have gotten a Hereditary or a, Saw or a, now that's a bit different, but I still think they're a bit different. They're a bit different. I get what you're saying. I understand it, but I think the influential mark in terms of the horror genre stamp, in terms of how we approach horror, more goes to Psycho and Halloween than it does Scream. But Scream is influential for different reasons, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Chastity Smith sends in a super chat and says, Dave, with the economy in a downfall, do you think theaters will become obsolete and we will enter a new era of movie going? Love the show. Thank you, Chastity. I think eventually movie theaters will become a very different experience. There is no doubt that in another, I think in our lifetime, but in another 20 years, and probably even before that, the movie theater going experience will be different. I think theaters will be there. I don't think theaters will be there forever. I think theaters will probably be there in another 20 years, but it'll be a very different experience. Streaming is the future. Digital is the future. Money, cash, that is, listen, it sounds very Orwellian, a lot of the things that, but it's true. There is very little doubt in my mind that paper money will be a thing of the future. It's not. Everything, listen, we already use the tap, right? We already, use tap to, chip and, things like that. And that's, so everything's going digital is what I'm trying to say. So streaming is the future. There's no doubt about it. Now, will streaming and theater experience coexist? I think they will. They are at the moment. And I think they will continue to do so for a certain period of time. But eventually what you will see is that the theater movie-going experience, they will have to play ball more, because I think streaming will start to rule the show. And eventually, I don't know. I think VR is virtual reality. I think that is a gigantic thing that is going to happen. I just think the movie going experience is going to change. There may always be a place we can go to watch movies on a big screen, but how we consume that entertainment and what that means, whether it's VR and we're like in the movie, or whether it's, whatever the case is, there will have to be an incentive to go out of the house. And, not necessarily for us, but for, kids coming up, who have grown up in the digital world and the digital landscape, it will be for them, so, but do I think this will affect the theaters? Yes, I do. But I don't think when the economy opens up again, there'll be no movie theaters. No, I don't believe that. I think the movie theaters will open up again. And I think we will go back to some sort of sense of, normalcy. And I think it will be like that. But I do think that, you are going to see in our lifetime a significant shift, and a significant restructuring of the business of movies. And it will be very interesting. Very interesting indeed. All right, another couple of minutes here. Didn't miss any super chats, I don't think. I think I got all the ones from the previous stream before I was knocked off, and I think I got everything here. That is good. You guys are great talking amongst yourself. Awesome stuff. Great to see. Yeah, this is great. Great. Alexander Dirksen says, have you seen Nomads with Pierce Brosnan from the director of John M.C. Tiernan, John McTiernan. Yeah, you mean McTiernan. Die Hard, Predator. No, I have not. No, I have not. I have not. I know it, but I've heard of it. But I have not seen it. So I will, got to check that one out as well. VIP says, you missed one, I think. Did I miss a super chat? Let's go back here. Chastity Smith. Okay, Doc. Oh, you're right, I did. Doc Evil King 03 sends a super chat, says, Dave, Scream 3 sucked, but the rest were better. I don't disagree with that. Super chat comes in from Bantam 360, says, Sir Dave, could you please do the You're Not Michael Myers, I'm playing Michael Myers in your Busta Rhymes voice. You're not Michael Myers, I'm playing Michael Myers. I'm Michael Myers. You hear me? I'm Michael Myers. Fuck you. Try trick or treat, motherfucker. There you go, buddy. There you go. All right. 1 more minute to go. Fring Baby Raw says, love listening to you, Dave. I appreciate how much you appreciate Halloween 78. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you appreciating me appreciating 78. Captain Brandon Horror Lover says the filmmaker should have killed off Randy in Scream. Shouldn't have killed off, Randy in Scream 2. He was generally funny. I think you mean genuinely funny. Or maybe you mean generally funny, because he wasn't funny all the time. Not cringe-inducing, and he spoke like a real genre fan that read back issues of Fangoria. I agree with all that you said there. I mean, we know the reason why he was killed, obviously, is to give some bottom to the, to the series, to make the fans go, oh my God. So anybody's game. If Randy can go, who's a fan favorite, anybody's game now. Like, holy shit. And I understand the creative decision to do that. When you're making a sequel, you want to, what can we do to raise the stakes here, right? What can we do that's, and you're not going to necessarily kill off Sydney. You're not going to kill off Dewey. Although I think I might have killed Dewey over Randy. I might have done that, but at the same time, Randy is loved, man. Randy is the one that is the horror fan. Randy is you, right? Randy is you, right? So I understand. Let's kill you off and make you realize that you're not safe. You know what I mean? You are not safe, so we're going to kill you off. Oh, I totally get it. I understand it. And I don't think it bothered me as much as it bothers you, but I totally understand the need to maybe bring or to have to not do that. Totally get that. All right, folks, that is going to do it for me here on episode 52 of McRae Live Part B. If you're just tuning in and you're watching after the fact, of course, YouTube knocked me off of my stream, so that will be a Part A. If you want to know my thoughts on the Neve Campbell Scream news that dropped yesterday, I guess it was, go back and watch Part 1 of this Part 2 live stream. I dive into it, I read the article, I give you my thoughts on it, and we jump into the Q&A, and then about halfway through the Q&A, the stream conked out of me, so that's what this is. This is kind of Part 2 of that Q&A. But I want to thank everybody who tuned in, really appreciate it, and to my moderators, of course, Jason Knight, Tabitha Short, Darren Sands, Frank, even though Frank's not here, I got to thank him, man, he's amazing. Thank you to everybody who sent in super chats, really appreciate it if you're watching after the fact. Thank you so much for doing that. Keeps these shows and channels going, of course. And I will be back tomorrow on episode 53 of McRae Live, 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on this YouTube channel. Thank you guys. You guys are amazing. I really mean that. And I love seeing you guys talking to each other in the chat room, building this community together. I think it's really awesome stuff. So yeah, my apologies again for the having to jump ship from one stream to the other. I know that's annoying for you guys too. But hopefully this thing will work itself out and it won't do this too much longer or too many times as YouTube, whatever the hell is going on, goes on. But anyway, yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. You guys are amazing. Links in the description. In the meantime, in between time, I will talk to you guys soon. I'll get my little Patreon thing ready. There we go. Alrighty. Cheers.